They mocked the old man at the luxury yacht store, so he bought the store and fired everyone. Arthur entered the luxury yacht store with a pounding heart and eyes shining with anticipation. The scent of the sea and the sight of the immense boats on display were like a call to his soul. He had always dreamed of sailing, feeling the ocean breeze on his face, far from the monotony of his life. However, the opulent atmosphere and the echoing laughter of the salespeople soon made him realize that here, amidst the ostentation, he was merely an intruder. Look who walked in. The grandpa from fairy tales, mocked one of the salespeople, a tall, snobbish man with a smug smile. The others laughed, and Arthur felt his face heat up. He tried to ignore it, but the words cut like sharp knives. "What do you want, sir? A yacht made of cardboard?" The collective laughter echoed through the store, as if the very air was enjoying at his expense. Arthur was not a man without resources. Over time he had saved a respectable amount, but he always preferred to live simply. That visit was an act of courage, a step toward his dream. But the humiliation he felt at that moment made him reflect. He was not a poor dreamer. He was a man with a lifetime of stories and experiences, and above all he had a desire that refused to be crushed. As he left the store, his determination grew with each step. He looked to the sky, which was becoming darker, as if the universe itself was joining him in his revolt. "They don't know who I am," he murmured to himself, determined to change his fate. He would return. Days later, Arthur returned to the store, but this time he was not alone. He walked in with a different demeanor, an aura of power and confidence that seemed to attract everyone's attention. "I'm here to buy this store," he announced, his firm voice silencing the laughter of the salespeople. Confused and incredulous glances exchanged. "You're joking, right?" said the snobbish salesperson, now with a pale expression. "This is a luxury yacht store. What could you possibly offer?" Arthur smiled, a smile that blended serenity with a hint of irony. "I have the capital and the determination. Besides, I have a story that doesn't fit inside a yacht. And now I want to put an end to the jokes." The negotiation was swift, and in the blink of an eye Arthur had become the new owner of the yacht store. What followed was an unexpected turn of events. He fired all the salespeople one by one, without hesitation. "You don't understand the value each customer carries. It's not appearance that defines someone, but the passion and dreams they bring. I don't want this place to be a field of mockery, but a refuge for dreamers." The ex-employees, bewildered, tried to protest, but Arthur was resolute. He restructured the store, turning it into a space where customers were treated with respect and dignity, regardless of their appearance or financial status. He hired people who believed in others' dreams, who saw value where there had once only been disdain, and in a short time, while yachts shimmered under the sun, Arthur not only became a respected store owner, but also a mentor to many. He organized events, hosted gatherings for aspiring sailors, and shared his own life stories, inspiring others to pursue their passions. One day, while watching a young dreamer marvel at a yacht, Arthur smiled, feeling the sea breeze kiss his face. The old man, who had once been the target of laughter, was now a symbol of resilience and hope. He had transformed pain into strength, and every derisive laugh that once hurt him was now a distant echo, replaced by the joyous laughter of people who, like him, dared to dream. Life is a journey, and Arthur had found his path, not just as a man who wished to sail, but as a captain of his own stories. Arthur had always been a common man, with a gaze that reflected more the wear and tear of life than the wealth he once possessed. The luxury yacht store, with its gleaming boats and arrogant salespeople, was the last place he expected to be a target of mockery. Yet there he stood, with his wrinkled hands and tattered straw hat, listening to muffled laughter and sarcastic comments. "Look at the old man trying to blend in with the elite," said a blond salesman with a disdainful smile. The blow was deep. Arthur felt his heart tighten, but instead of letting it bring him down, a flame of determination began to burn within him. He remembered the words of his late wife, Clara, "True wealth lies in who we are, not in what we own." And it was then that he decided it was time to change his life. In the days that followed, Arthur revealed the truth he had kept hidden. With a firm gesture, He pulled a purchase contract from his bag. The yacht store now belonged to him. The blonde salesman, with a disbelieving look, could not hide his surprise. "You bought the store?" he asked, almost in disbelief. Arthur smiled, and it was a smile that made the entire room hesitate. "Yes, and you're fired." The scene that unfolded next was worthy of a movie. The faces of the employees became a patchwork of emotions: shock, anger, and finally, fear. Arthur did not care anymore. There was a new purpose in his heart. He dreamed of transforming that place into an inclusive refuge, where everyone, regardless of their social class, could dream of navigating the seas of life. In the days that followed, Arthur worked tirelessly. He revamped the store, exchanging the luxury yachts for affordable, colorful, and vibrant boats. He began offering free sailing lessons for local youth, bringing joy and hope to those who previously felt excluded. One day, while looking out the window of his new office, he saw a group of children laughing and splashing water at each other as they learned to maneuver a small boat. Their laughter echoed in his heart like a soft melody, and Arthur realized he had found his true treasure, the happiness of seeing others thrive. However, the true test of his character was yet to come. A month after the transformation, the former employees of the store, now unemployed, decided to unite and protest in front of the new establishment. They carried signs that read, "Arthur, you don't belong in this world," and "Go back to your humble life." The words cut like knives, but Arthur did not let himself be intimidated. Instead, he invited them in. "Do you really think I'm different from you?" he asked, his voice steady yet warm. "I'm just a man who decided to change his path, and I want you to be a part of this." Silence hung in the air, and one by one the hardened faces began to soften. "My friends, I don't want just me to sail in a sea of opportunities. I want all of us to have that privilege. Let's build together a place where everyone can feel at home." And so, gradually, the walls between them began to crumble. Arthur offered jobs to those willing to learn and change. He did not want revenge. He wanted redemption. The old man who had once been the target of laughter was now becoming the beacon of a new era, where inclusion and solidarity were the sails propelling the yacht store toward the horizon. And as the sun set over the new venture, Arthur looked out at the sea, where colorful boats danced with the waves. He smiled, feeling the refreshing breeze on his face, knowing he had finally found his true home, not in a luxury yacht, but in the collective joy of sailing through life together. Arthur had always been a discreet man. His calm demeanor and simple clothes did not reveal the fortune he had amassed over a lifetime of hard work. However, that day in the luxury yacht store would change his life and many others. As he entered, he heard muffled laughter echoing among the gleaming boat displays. "Look at the old man. I bet he's just here to dream," one of the salespeople whispered, while others amused themselves with the image of a gray-haired man dreaming at sea. What they didn't know was that Arthur was not just a dreamer. He was about to become the captain of his own destiny. With a calm gesture, he pulled his phone from his pocket and, in an act that blended determination with a hint of revenge, made the purchase of the store on the spot. When the manager approached, Arthur was already positioning himself as the new owner, a smile on his face like a well-rehearsed trap. "You're all fired," he said, his voice firm, instantly silencing the laughter. The salespeople stared at him, incredulous, as if the old man was about to faint. "That's right," Arthur continued, "not just for the lack of respect, but because this place needs a new spirit. A spirit that values every customer and every employee, regardless of their appearance or past." Arthur's lesson began. He wasn't shaken by the disdain the former employees showed in their expressions. "From now on, I want this store to represent dreams but also inclusion. We will hire people of all ages, ethnicities, and backgrounds. I will create a place where respect is the norm." The former salespeople, now unemployed, found themselves confronted with reality. "You don't know anything about sales," shouted one of the men, his voice heavy with anger. "You think you can just buy everything, even our experience?" Arthur smiled, not a mocking smile, but one of compassion. "Experience is important, but knowledge of the heart is more. I'm not here to compete with you, but to create a new space where everyone can grow. Now, you will need to find new paths." As the weeks passed, the store began to change. Arthur hired people from all walks of life, young dreamers, seasoned veterans, men and women from diverse cultures. The atmosphere that had once been heavy and full of irony transformed into a vibrant space where empathy and respect were the orders of the day. The new employees brought stories of overcoming challenges, genuine smiles, and a contagious passion for yachts and life. The former employees who had once mocked Arthur began to feel the pressure of change. As they tried to find new jobs, they watched the store thrive under new leadership. "You'll regret doing this," one of them muttered, trying to hide the frustration in his voice. But Arthur, with his quiet wisdom, simply replied, "Regret is not part of my vocabulary. I believe in second chances." Time went on, and on a certain sunny day, Arthur was in the store, watching a group of children laugh as they explored a yacht. He felt a warmth in his heart, a sense of fulfillment that was unmatched by anything he'd ever had. One of the new salespeople approached him, a young man with a sparkle in his eyes, and said, "You changed our lives. Here, everyone feels at home." Arthur smiled, knowing that instead of seeking revenge, he had chosen a path of creation. And as the former employees struggled to rebuild themselves in new jobs, Arthur understood that true victory lay in cultivating a legacy of respect and inclusion. The old man who had once been the target of mockery was now the leader who transformed not just a store, but the lives of everyone around him. Deep down, he knew that the sea of life is vast and unpredictable, and that true wealth lies not in possessions, but in the connections we create and the stories we share. Thus the luxury yacht store became a beacon of hope and inclusion, lighting the way to a brighter future. Arthur Cruz had always been a man with big dreams, even though life had pushed him into the shadows. The luxury yacht store, once owned by an industry magnate, was now his, and he knew the road ahead would be tough. But what motivated him most were the laughter and scornful looks he overheard while walking through the showroom, a space that was now his, though still tainted by the contempt of the former team. "He has no idea what he's doing," whispered one of the former employees, shaking his head in disdain. Arthur didn't care. He remembered every word and every taunt. If there was one thing the old man knew how to do, it was turning disdain into fuel. The first day was a whirlwind. He entered the office, decorated with sleek designer furniture but lacking soul. The walls, once adorned with awards and photos of glamorous yachts, now seemed a testament to a past he was determined to change. "Let's renovate all of this," he muttered, rolling up his sleeves and plunging into a sea of challenges. The days dragged on. Arthur faced silent boycotts, looks of disdain, and spiteful comments in the halls. The former team, now under a new manager's leadership, felt betrayed, as if Arthur had torn apart what remained of their dignity. However, he was not alone. A new team, young and full of passion, joined him. They were dreamers just like him, and together they began shaping plans for the store. "We need an event that makes a splash," said Camilla, an enthusiastic designer, her eyes sparkling like the stars in the night sky. "A launch that shows we're here to stay." Arthur smiled, feeling her energy was infectious. "How about an open event? Let everyone see what we can do." The idea ignited a flame within him. As they prepared, the former team tried to undermine their efforts. "They'll never make it," said one of the ex-employees in a WhatsApp group, sharing memes and jokes about the new direction of the store. Arthur just laughed internally. They had no idea what he was capable of. The day of the event arrived. The store was transformed into a spectacle of lights and colors, with a shimmering yacht as the star of the night. People began to arrive, and the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Arthur, in a suit that reflected his new approach, stepped onto the makeshift stage on the deck. The sea was calm, and the sky, painted in shades of orange and purple, seemed the perfect canvas for his new beginning. "Welcome to the new chapter of our store," his voice echoed among the guests. "Today, we're not just launching a yacht. We're launching a dream, proof that we can change, grow, and exceed expectations. I'm a man of challenges, and each of you is part of this." He paused, watching the excited faces before him. "And I want you to know, what happened here is just the beginning. A new horizon awaits us." The crowd applauded, and Arthur felt the adrenaline rush through his veins. He saw people taking photos, posting on social media, messages of support. began to pour in. The event turned into a true success, attracting media attention that would soon question the former team about what had happened to the store they had lost. In the following days, the store gained notoriety. Arthur became a name that resonated in conversations about yachts and entrepreneurship. He heard murmurs of admiration and respect, a transformation that felt magical. "You did the impossible," said Camilla, her eyes sparkling with pride. Arthur simply smiled, feeling that every challenge faced had been worth it, and while the former team struggled with criticism and resentment, Arthur knew he had found his true purpose. He hadn't just bought a business, he had bought the chance to reinvent himself, and was now sailing into uncharted waters. But with the confidence of someone who had finally found their place in the world. Arthur had always been a man of few words, but his actions spoke louder than any speech. After purchasing the luxury yacht store, he found himself in a world he had never dreamed of inhabiting. The bright white walls, the scent of the sea permeating the air, and the soft sound of waves breaking on the docks soon became part of his routine. However, the echo of mocking laughter still resonated in his mind, a constant reminder of his former humiliation. As the months passed, the store flourished under his leadership. The yachts, gleaming like diamonds under the sun, attracted clients from everywhere. Arthur, with his keen eye and knowledge gained over a lifetime, transformed the business into a true success. But amidst the sparkle and glamour, a shadow settled in his heart. He faced a difficult choice: continue seeking revenge or show compassion to the former employees who once ridiculed him. On a sunny morning, while watching a yacht being prepared for a demonstration, the image of his old rivals flashed through his mind. They laughed, pointed, and mocked him, but now they were just distant echoes. Arthur felt a tightness in his chest. What did he truly desire, revenge or redemption? Driven by an impulse, he decided to call a meeting with some of the former employees who were still in town. He knew that many of them were struggling to find work after the mass layoffs. The chosen location was the store's own showroom, an elegant space reflecting Arthur's new era. When they arrived, the atmosphere was tense. Some looked nervous, others suspicious. Arthur, in his simplicity, didn't beat around the bush. "I know many of you laughed at me," he began, his voice firm, but not without a touch of vulnerability. "But I want to offer a second chance. I want you to come work with me." A murmur ran through the group. Eyes met, some expressions showing disbelief, others hope. "Are you kidding?" asked one of them, Lucas, who had always been the most sarcastic. "After everything we did?" Arthur took a deep breath, feeling the tension in the air. "I'm not here to seek revenge. I'm here to show that we can all change. If you accept, I challenge you to become better professionals and, who knows, better people." There was a profound silence. Each person reflected on their past actions, and with that the weight of guilt began to dissipate. After a few moments, a hand raised. It was Anna, who had always been the most sensitive of the group. "I want to try. I want to learn from you, Arthur. I'm sorry for how I treated you. We were wrong." Anna's words opened the door to a new dynamic. Gradually more hands went up. The room began to pulse with the energy of a fresh start. Arthur felt his heart warm as he realized that revenge was not the way. Reconciliation was a more rewarding path, and above all, more human. The following days were a whirlwind. Arthur challenged himself to teach and learn at the same time. Initially, there was resistance. Pride was still present, but gradually rivalries turned into collaborations. They became a team, facing daily challenges together. The laughter, which once mocked, now stemmed from camaraderie and learning. One day, while working on a bold project, to launch a new yacht, Lucas turned to Arthur and said, "Did you know that many of us didn't believe you could do this? Now we are all here together. You changed our perspective." Arthur smiled, feeling a wave of satisfaction. "I didn't just change the store. I changed myself. And if we can do this together, imagine what else we can achieve." The yacht store was not just a business, it was now a symbol of transformation. The work environment pulsed with new energy, and people began to feel valued. There was a greater purpose there, and Arthur realized that true wealth was not in the luxurious yachts, but in the human connections he had created. So, under the bright blue sky, Arthur not only challenged his former rivals to change, but also challenged himself to be a better man. And in the end, that was what truly mattered. Life is made up of choices, and he would choose the path of compassion, leading him to a destination far grander than any luxury yacht could offer. Arthur had always been a man of few words, but his actions spoke volumes. When he entered the luxury yacht store, the dismissive looks from the staff made his heart race with a mix of anger and determination. "Look who's decided to show up," one of them whispered, laughing with the others. To them, he was just an old man who didn't fit into the shiny, glamorous world of yachts. But little did they know that Arthur was much more than his wrinkles and grey hair. That day changed everything. He left the store with an idea burning in his mind. "If they think they can mock me, maybe it's time to show them what really matters," he murmured to himself as he drove through the city. The decision was made. He would buy the store and turn it into a place that reflected his true spirit. Months passed, and after tireless work, the yacht store underwent a transformation. The cold white walls were adorned with photos of young sailors, dreams and achievements, while the aroma of fresh coffee and warm smiles filled the air. Arthur, now the owner, fired the employees who had belittled him, not out of revenge, but because he believed the new space needed people who shared his vision. One morning, while watching the activity in the store, a young woman named Clara walked in, her eyes shining with curiosity. "I've always dreamed of sailing," she confessed shyly. Arthur smiled, his heart warming. "Then let's make that dream happen. Would you like to learn?" She could hardly believe it. In the blink of an eye, the store transformed into a harbor of hope. Each week, more and more young people showed up, all with their stories and aspirations.